My day could not have gotten any worse than it already was. As if to prove me wrong, a flash of lightning briefly illuminated the forested road around me. The rain in the middle of the night was bad enough, but the storm raging was even worse. My patience was dying with every passing moment. My boss laid me off, I had an argument with my wife, and my truck has broken down in the middle of a forest, in the middle of the night, in the middle of a storm. If a stray bolt of lightning were to send me to God right then, I'd have a few choice words for him. I hid in the enclosed space of my pickup. At least I could try to maintain some safety from the storm in there. The truck's engine was dead, but the battery still had a charge, so I was able to turn on the light while I called for a tow. Once again, the world showed me its middle finger, this time in the form of a low battery in my phone. In frustration, I slammed the dashboard of my truck. The force of the impact not only dented the vinyl covering the top, but I also ended up spraining my wrist. Honestly, I just wanted to lay back in my seat and do nothing. But somehow I felt that something horrible would happen anyway if I did. But what could I do? I wasn't about to go out in a thunderstorm, my phone was dead, and my truck was going nowhere. Lightning flashed, briefly bathing the trees and road with such bright light, it almost looked like the daytime sun flickered overhead. In the split second of illumination, I thought I saw a figure standing across the road. My brow tightened as I tried to look through the darkness to see if they were still there. The rain on the window made it almost impossible to see out, so despite better judgment, I opened the door to get a clearer look. Peering into the darkness and the rain, I still saw nothing. Maybe I was seeing things, or maybe it was just an animal that ducked back into the trees. Whatever the case, I closed the door and resumed wallowing in my misfortune. I turned on the radio and switched it over to the news channel to find out more about the storm. The forecaster eventually came on saying that it would be at least an hour before it let up. Good, great. Just my rotten luck. Something tapped loudly on the truck window. My head whipped to the side, but I saw nothing outside. I opened the door again and called out, "Hello? Who's out there?" No answer, just the noises of rain and thunder. I leaned back and shut the door. Whatever it was, it had already left. The weather report on the radio concluded, and the eye-rolling line of adverts and infomercials began once more. On the road, I would have just shut the radio off. But here, the noise was welcome to distract me from the storm outside. Lightning flashed again and a shadow cast across my lap from outside. I glanced at the side window again and saw nothing but darkness and raindrops. Something had to be standing just outside the door for that shadow to appear, but whatever it was hiding. I reached over and locked the door. I somehow didn't feel any safer. An explosive blast shook the truck. I jumped in my seat and clutched my chest. I didn't need this shit right now. I didn't want to go out there, but I needed to see what happened. I undid the lock on the driver's side door, grabbed a flashlight from the glove box, and went out into the pouring rain. The noise came from the back of the truck, and it sounded like one of my tires exploded. I turned toward the rear and inspected the driver's side tire. Seemed fine. I sneaked around to the other side. Completely flat. I groaned. Every nuisance in the world was coming after me at once. Then, I saw the scratches. Something had scratched the rear fender framing the tire, and the marks continued across the wheel. The tire sagged around the metal. I inspected the limp rubber. It had been slashed clean through. I scrambled to get back inside. Someone, or something, attacked my truck, and if it could do that kind of damage and go almost unnoticed. I shut the door and slammed my hand down on the lock. My heart thundered in my chest, almost competing with the storm outside. The truck shook right as lightning flashed again, revealing the silhouette of a hulking figure that just landed on the vehicle's hood. Two large, empty eyes shined red in the flash of light. Jolting backward, my hand instinctively reached for the ignition. Then I remembered the truck was dead, and the tire had been slashed. I wasn't going anywhere. The hull of my truck creaked as that thing crawled onto the roof. The ear-piercing scratching noises came next as it tried to find a way in. I cringed in my seat, as if that would do anything to put distance between me and it. The truck shook as the thing landed in the bed behind me. The terrifying sound of shattering glass sent me into a cold terror as the creature reached a long talon through the back window. I reeled, backing away into the door to escape the flailing claw. The creature's growls shook my bones. I cried out, shouted at the top of my lungs for help. Someone. Anyone. Lightning flashed again. The noise shook the air, and I could feel the heat. My hair stood on end. The creature screamed and reeled, falling off the back of my truck. Frozen in my seat, I waited for the thing to come back. A few minutes passed, but it didn't return. I didn't hear it, nor see its shadows in the flashes of distant lightning. Did it leave? I unlocked the door and slowly crept outside to inspect the back of my truck. There, lying dead on its back, was the fried body of the creature that had attacked me. Burns tattooed its dark skin like streaks of lightning, all connecting and converging on its nearly featureless head. A bolt of lightning must have hit the thing and killed it. I quickly returned to the driver's seat of my truck. Luck had finally turned around in my favor. My head fell onto the steering wheel, cradled between my knuckles as they clutched the worn leather. If not for that stray bolt of lightning, I would have been dead by then. I still don't know what that thing was, but I'm glad that it was the only one I ever saw.